So I don't know whether you would brand this an actual Brexit benefit, but certainly it's a benefit that certainly many of the Brexiteers like Jacob Rees-Mogg or Boris Johnson or any member, shall we say, of the current Conservative government would brand as a Brexit benefit that they wanted, one that they were particularly looking for. Because one of the things is that now we're out of the EU, the place where the unions went to lobby for rights and more protections wasn't Westminster anymore. They went to Brussels. And over that time, the unions have come back into the UK, now that we're out of the EU. All that expertise has now come back into, shall we say, Westminster again, because that's where all the action is now. So they're bringing back all this knowledge of sort of lobbying, pushing for bills, lobbying, MPs for stuff that they want to improve workers' rights, are now all coming back to Westminster. And this is something that the Conservatives do not want. The last thing they want is to give workers more rights. We have seen continuously the Brexiteers, especially the far-right libertarians in the party, push to get rid of workers' rights even more, to the point where we are potentially seeing them wanting to stop workers' strike completely. And of course, unions are not going to be for that at all. And I can expect a big pushback, not only just as we'll go into here from Unite, one of the UK's big unions, but from other unions as well. I cannot see them staying quiet about that at all. And trust me, we currently are in a situation where under Margaret Thatcher, she cut a lot of the union's power away from them. They are now trying to really push to sort of reclaim a lot of that power. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing. And we are seeing an increase in the buildup of unions here in the UK, which again, not only just increase of joining unions, but union action as well. And that is something the Brexiteers do not want at all. So before we get into this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there's a link to my Patreon page and a donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. So, what's been going on? Well, this you may remember, going back, 2021, might have been 2020. You saw at the time the then business secretary, well, he's still now. No, actually, no, he's not anymore. Nazim Zawawi. Was it Nazim Zawawi? I can't remember now. But the then business secretary came in and said, look, I'm going to get rid of the working time directive. It's nonsense. It's all EU stuff. Then we can give workers more freedom to decide when they work. But of course, what is the working time directive? It is basically laid out and said, look, workers, this is like the maximum time you can work. We know, and again, studies were done at that time and around it, so again, building up into sort of the policy that was passed, in the EU of this is the maximum really any reasonable worker can work within a week. After that, you're going to start looking at them getting tired, injuries, stress, all kinds of stuff coming in there. So we're going to put a cap on how long workers can work, like in a week. And of course, the Conservatives, again, mainly the right-wing libertarians of the party, balked at that idea, saying, nonsense, companies should be allowed to let them do that as much as they want, exploit their workers, and if they don't want to do that, well, they can just go work somewhere else. But as we've said time and time again, that's not really an option for many people. They can't just up sticks and just move or to go to a different company. It doesn't work like that, despite their crazy fantasy dream about how the working class sort of operate in this country. It's kind of bizarre. But anyway, we're going to go to what Unite has had to say about this, because this could have some very big ramifications. And I think this hopefully will set, the cat amongst the pigeons, certainly amongst the Tories about this. So over we go. So this comes from Unite website themselves. This is a press release that they put out. So Responding to the latest threats by the government to undermine workers' right to strike, the Unite General Secretary, Sharon Graham, said, Unite will confront head on, by whatever means necessary, any further attacks on the right to strike. In Britain, we already operate under the most restrictive labour laws in Western Europe, and a worker's right to withdraw their labour is inevitable in any democracy worth its name. It is a cynical authoritarian move designed to protect corporate profits and has been wheeled out to try and satisfy the needs of the short term fractional politics. While corporations make billions, the ordinary working people suffer. The government chooses the right to attack the rights of British workers. When P&O, a billion-dollar company owned by a foreign dictatorship, brutally sacked over 800 British workers, they broke the law, and the government's response was a fine. When British workers threaten to defend their living standards in the face of a cost of living crisis, not only of their making, this government threatens to take away their democratic rights. We are now forced to put the government on notice. Unite will not sacrifice the protection of any of our members, jobs, pay, and conditions to err on the altar of Partygate. Again, much of this is being very put forward as the Conservative fractured, so they're trying to sort of, get MPs not to pay attention to Partygate. Try and calm the party, or at least the very fractured Conservative Party, and what it has become. So anyway, it continues. If you force our legitimate activities outside of the law, then don't expect us to play by the rules. And Labour now needs to stand up and be counted. I don't want hard-to-believe promises for the future. We need concrete action now. This is an attack on working people and the whole of the Labour movement. It is time for the political wing that was founded by and continues to be funded by our members to step up to the plate. So, very interesting things said there. Certainly, once again, a threat, obviously, to Labour. We've seen the Bakers Union move funding from Labour, which again, obviously was very bad news. Losing that funding has and also will certainly hurt the Labour Party. Again, I think it would be far better for the union to sort of maybe negotiate and say, hey, look, guys, we want, you need to be standing up for more for workers' rights, which I think Labour certainly needs to be making sort of a more bigger issue of, especially now we are out of the EU, where most of our workers' rights came sort of from the EU and then into sort of British law that way. We need to be now looking at pushing workers' rights forward. And remember, this is a massive open goal for the Labour, because the Conservatives and the Brexiteers in particular promised that we would maintain and even excel higher than European standards on workers' rights. So this is a massive moment to really push hard and start really talking about workers' rights here in the UK. And at a time where the cost of living crisis, is going to contribute to even, shall we say, worse worker conditions, because companies will be taking advantage of this. You saw, again, the sacking at P&O. That didn't happen in any other European country. It only happened here in the UK. Why? Because they sacked them, and then what was the government response? Nothing. The government could have stepped in and really hammered P&O really hard and done all sorts of stuff to sort of really hammer them and punish them. The problem is now is that the government currently has set a standard of that any company that wants to do a mass firing has now set as we said, set a standard. The government isn't really going to punish you. So what does that say for that this current government is going to protect future workers' rights? It doesn't signal anything at all for them. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there is a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.